Hi, I'm Nairi and I'm running an adoption support channel. Today we're going to talk about neglected children, but we're going to come at it from a slightly different angle from what I normally would. We're going to look at some of the positives that neglected children can bring to us and bring to the family in a way. So our boys are 12 and 13 nearly, and they came to us when they were 2 and 3, and one of the things that they came into care for was neglect. So I feel like I'm talking from personal experience when I reflect on our journey. Children that come into care and then go on for adoption come with their own blueprint of the world as they understand it. There will be good and bad in there, but obviously they've got a fixed idea of what to expect. And if they've been neglected, then that fixed idea will be around the fact that they're not going to have certain things provided for them. And this makes them reflect in different ways from other children, I believe. What we've noticed with our boys is when we have people around us, whether it be children or adults, that are suffering in any way or have had a misfortune. It could be a minor injury, it could be the fact that they're displaced for a while, they can't be at home for a while, or they've been ill. Then I notice that my boys have a hypervigilance around that, and actually that can be a positive thing, because then you can see that lovely response in them toward those people, that caring, nurturing response. It's something that they longed for, I'm sure, before they came to us, but obviously we started to put into place when they first came. So they have those feelings around wanting to make sure that that person's all right. And if you'll stick around to the end, I'll share a lovely story with you near the end of the video. Another thing that we noticed about the boys, and this is a positive very early on when you first have neglected children, is that they were really appreciative of everything that we did for them. Really everything we did for them. So when we had birthdays, every single present they were awestruck in wonderment. Christmas, they were awestruck in wonderment. Taking them to the first beach, taking them outside, even being out in the garden and doing activities. They were so appreciative of everything that we did for them early on. Okay, now they're preteens, yeah, it's not the same. But for many years it was. I would say for the first 4 to 5 years of having them, it was. So I might go out during the day and buy a pack of new socks because they needed them, and I put them on the bed for when they would come home from nursery or school, and they would be thrilled at a pack of new socks. And I think that's the difference again with neglected children that have not really had very much. They are very much more appreciative than your average child. So another point I want to say to you as well is when you first have children that are neglected and you start to put your care routines into place, so they get bathed regularly, bath regularly, they get their food regularly, and they are having outdoor experiences and not stuck inside. All the things that you might associate with neglect, you are starting to do differently for them. We saw a massive change in them really quickly. Now yes, that change did slow down over time, but originally when we started to put those routines in place, we saw a change in their physicality very quickly. So within 4 weeks they had filled out a little bit. Their skin was a lot clearer because one of them had a really bad rash that we didn't know why that was happening, and they were both quite sallow, so they had colour in their cheeks again. Their hair started thickening out. Things happened really quickly. We saw a massive change in them. Obviously other things that were more ingrained took longer, like teeth health care and things like that took a lot longer to put right, and toileting and stuff like that. But also saw a really good response to a different diet and things like that. And so for the carer or adopter, it's really very satisfying when you're doing what you think is just what everybody would do for children, but you're seeing a huge difference in their development even, or their physical well-being. Now for us, the development side of it then after a while slowed down, but initially, because the boys came without any speech and we were practicing words with them, we saw huge strides really quickly. And I can remember saying to the social worker, surely they're never going to be able to speak, they're learning from the beginning and they're 2 and 3. And she said, oh, you'll be surprised how quickly things change. And she was right on that count in those early days. So getting onto the development side of it, I think if you put the work in as well, even if your child that comes to you is severely neglected, you will see some change. You will see that the efforts that you put in to stimulate and play with the child will reap rewards. Even if there's going to be long-term development issues, it doesn't mean to say that what you put into place won't make a difference, because it will make a huge difference. So we've noticed with our boys as well that they like to make their own routines and memories, and again, I think that's because they came to us and got what they needed, what they wanted, and so they've built up a lovely pattern of family memories around that. But again, as with neglected children, they're not complicated memories, they're not big gestures, they are small things. So it's things like, you know, how baths are done, or, you know, how we walk the dog, or what we normally have for tea on a Saturday, or that type of thing. It's small things that they cling hold of. So you could see that in a non-positive way, because it is around neglect, that they're trying to, you know, make sure, hold fast those steadfast routines. But in another way, it's really lovely, because it shows that what you're trying to do to create, they're kind of going along with that, and they're creating their own memories too. And they tend to be very loyal as well toward you as that maker of memories, or a pet that becomes part of that maker of memories. They have that loyalty that I believe perhaps other children don't have in the same way, that they know who has provided for them. They know who's played a part in those memories, whether it is a pet, a sibling, or you as the adopter, and they kind of cling fast to that, and they're very loyal to the people that care for them. And I think I've said this before, with any adopted child that's suffered more extreme abuse or neglect, they are the ones in the end that have the most to offer to our society, and I believe they are the ones who love the strongest when it comes to giving back that love to you as an adopter. That might not be seen in everyday routine necessarily, it may not be said necessarily, but I think the reality is, when the chips are down, they know who their providers are, and they know where their loyalties lie. And I think that if you're brave enough to go for a child, if you've not adopted so far, that's very neglected, you will find that loyalty is there. So let me share a lovely story with you. It goes back to people, children that are neglected, feeling for other people that have gone through traumatic circumstances or are displaced in any way. So we've had a family situation, which I can't discuss in detail here, where we've had a family member who's been very, very poorly for at least 2 years, around about 2 years. And we have therefore not seen so much of them, and they've not been able to join in so much with family occasions, and it would have been very stressful for them to join in with family occasions. Well, it's been Mothering Sunday recently, and this person made an effort to come, and we were all very thrilled, but we didn't want to be too over the top over it, but we were very, very thrilled that this person could make it and could join in and be part of the celebrations. Now, my boys are pre-teen, so they really enjoy being on their screens and doing their own thing. They don't always want to be part of family celebrations anymore. Like when they were little children, they could kind of join in and play more. They get bored quite quickly with adult conversation, obviously, that's just normal. My husband probably suggested to my sons that they get involved with a family occasion to a certain point, and that once they'd been joining in for a few hours, they can go off and do what they wanted. But what I wasn't expecting is to see one of my sons go over to this person in the family and give them the most genuine hug that I've ever seen, and that person received it really well. I guess because he's still a child, he just made a real effort to go in for a really close hug, and that hug was saying, really glad you're here, really sorry for what you've gone through, I feel for you. And this is what I'm saying about neglected children. They feel sensitively and keenly, which I know can work against them sometimes, but can make them the most beautiful of spirits and children. So if you've not adopted so far, well, maybe you could consider it. But if you have, maybe if you've adopted children that you know have suffered from neglect, maybe you can see some of these traits in them. Maybe you want to comment below on them. So thank you for watching Adoption with Nari. Check out my channel, and I'll see you on my next video.